Good evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. Omani-Indian Committee discussed in Muscat enhancing defense and military cooperation between the Sultanate and India. Sultan Qaboos Award for Sustainable Development in School Environment is launched in 3 fields. And more than 1,070 male and female citizens are graduating from the PRO's National Objectives Program. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. Situations and development at the Arab and regional arena were reviewed by His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, with His Excellency Dr. Mish'al bin Fahm al-Salmi, Chairman of the Arab Parliament, who is on a current visit to the Sultanate. The meeting dwelt on Arab Parliament's role in strengthening solidarity and cooperation amid Arab countries. His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Saud bin Harib al-Busaidi, Minister responsible for Defense Affairs, received in his office today at Muaskar Beit al-Falaj His Excellency Sanjay Mitra, Under Secretary of the Ministry of Defense and Chairman of the Indian side, at the 10th meeting of the Omani-Indian Joint Military Cooperation Committee. His Excellency the Under Secretary of the Ministry of Defense handed over a written message from Her Excellency Nirmala Sitharaman, Minister of Defense in India, to His Excellency the Minister responsible for Defense Affairs. The message relates to military cooperation relations between the two friendly countries. During the meeting, the two sides reviewed the good bilateral relations and discussed the existing cooperation spheres. They as well exchanged viewpoints in a number of matters with mutual concern which serve the interests of both countries. Within the framework of the friendly relations and existing military cooperation between the Sultanate and India, His Excellency Mohammed bin Nasser al-Rasbi, Secretary General of the Ministry of Defense, chaired the Omani side of the 10th meeting of the Omani-Indian Joint Military Cooperation Committee, while the Indian side was chaired by His Excellency Sanjay Mitra, Under Secretary of the Ministry of Defense, and with the attendance of committee members from both sides. During the meeting, they discussed the means of strengthening military and defense cooperation, in addition to exchanging experiences between the armed forces of both countries. The meeting came within the historical relations binding the Sultanate and India, which go back 2 centuries. Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Harith al-Nabhani, Chief of Staff of the Sultanate Armed Forces, received at his office today at Muaskar al-Murtafa'a Major General Mohammed bin Abdullah al-Kindi, Chairman of the Higher Committee for Defense Cooperation in Kuwait, and his accompanying delegation, who is on a current visit to the Sultanate. During the meeting, the two sides reviewed the good bilateral relations binding the Sultanate and Kuwait and exchanged viewpoints in various military fields. They as well will discuss a number of matters with mutual concern. Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Harith al-Nabhani, Chief of Staff of the Sultan Armed Forces, also received in his office today at Muaskar al-Murtafa'a Lieutenant General Anil Kumar Chawla, Commander of the Indian Southern Naval Command, and his accompanying delegation, who are on a current visit to the Sultanate. They exchanged cordial talks and reviewed views on various military fields. They also discussed issues of common concern. Rear Admiral Abdullah bin Khamis al-Raisi, Commander of the Royal Navy of Oman, received at his office at Muaskar al-Murtafa'a Lieutenant Anil Kumar Chawla, Commander of the Indian Southern Naval Command, and his accompanying delegation. At the beginning of the meeting, the Commander of the Royal Navy of Oman welcomed the Indian guest. They exchanged views on a number of issues of common concern related to naval fields. The schools of the Sultanate will compete in 3 fields for Sultan Qaboos Award for Sustainable Development in School Environment, which was launched today. It aims at spreading the culture of sustainable development, implementing best educational practices, and enhancing the national identity. It is based on 3 pillars, namely environment and health, social and culture, and economy. The award also seeks to instill on students the concept of work and activate the role of modern technology. The jury committee of the award will include specialists from the Ministry of Education and other bodies. As part of its national objectives program, the Petroleum Development of Oman witnessed the graduation of more than 1,000 citizens. Here is a report read by Sulaiman Al-Bahri.
Petroleum Development of Oman held a ceremony to mark the graduation of 1,077 male and female citizens within the 13th batch of the National Objectives Program. The program, which was launched in 2011, aims to find training and employment opportunities for job seekers in the Sultanate. The graduates completed their training programs in electricity, welding, automotive, finance, wholesale, and retail sales sectors, which go in line with the efforts exerted to support national economic diversification policy in Oman.
I hope they joined in this institute because if they need a lot of experience, the company needs a lot of experience because they need when they need him to work with them, so they need a lot of experience. The institute is best way for take a lot of experience.
The training program continued for 6 to 18 months and was presented by 7 accredited training institutes in the Sultanate. This batch is considered the biggest in the history of National Objectives Program for developing youth talents and strengthen in-country value in the Sultanate.
This day is the best one, so we are feeling that we can give for Oman and we can give for our country and for our college.
It is worth mentioning that PDO program provided more than 55,000 job and training opportunities, as well as scholarships for Omani job seekers since its launch. It has well contributed in qualifying Omani youth and increasing Omanization percentage in private sector establishments. The graduation ceremony was presided over by His Excellency Sheikh Nasser bin Hilal Al-Marwali, Chairman of State Financial and Administrative Audit Institution.
The Sultanate made a record number in the Guinness World Records in the number of blood donors through the National Blood Donation Initiative themed Your Blood is a Life for the Other. The national initiative was organized by the Fellowship Fund of the Ministry of Health staff in cooperation with the Blood Donation Services Department in the Ministry of Health. The number of blood donors and commitments reached 5,555 donors within just 8 hours, exceeding the blood donors number in the Guinness World Records in India, which was 3,034 donors. The initiative, which was the first of its kind in the Arab world, aimed to involve the community members as well as promoting the partnership concept between the government sector, the military and civil, and the private sector. Still to come on News Bulletin. The Sultanate's embassies in brotherly and friendly countries continue the celebrations on the occasion of the 48th Glorious National Day. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman received a personal welcome from Tunisia's president today. Beji Qaed al-Sibsi greeted his guest at the airport. Al-Sibsi and Prince Mohammed held closed-door talks at the presidential palace in Carthage, just outside the capital of Tunis. It was the only scheduled activity during the brief visit by the prince, who was on a tour of Arab countries before heading to the Group of 20 summit in Argentina. The official welcome contrasted with the hostile protest by the non-government representatives and political parties. Pakistan's Prime Minister attended a groundbreaking ceremony for the first visa-free border crossing with India today. The crossing, known as Kartarpur Corridor, is a rare sign of cooperation between the two rival countries. Imran Khan addressed the audience at the ceremony, which came after India last week gave the green light for the corridor for around 70 minutes. The crossing, an initiative of Khan, will allow Sikh pilgrims to easily visit their shrines on each side of the border. Instead of visas, the pilgrims will be given special permits to access their shrines. A high-level conference in Bangkok heard today that global levels of hunger and malnourishment have risen to levels not seen for 10 years. According to a new report by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization FAO and 4 other UN agencies, about 820 million people worldwide are malnourished, with the largest proportion, around 60%, in the Asia-Pacific region. At the same time, levels of global obesity are rising. The report was released to coincide with the opening of the Bangkok conference, which aims to spur action towards achieving a zero hunger world by 2030. Speaking at the session of the 2-day meeting, the FAO Costas Stamiolos called for urgent action. Some 400 delegates are attending the conference. Most of them are from Asia and Africa. The Sultanate's embassy in Korea hosted a reception ceremony on the occasion of the 48th Glorious National Day, which was attended by a number of officials, diplomats, businessmen, and heads of the Arab and foreign diplomatic missions. The welcoming party was held by His Excellency Mohammed bin Salim Al Houthi, Sultanate's ambassador to Korea. It witnessed a huge participation from a number of officials and government representatives, as well as members of the parliament. During the ceremony, the participants expressed their sincere greetings and best wishes to the Omani people. The ceremony also witnessed an exhibition of Omani photographs and some traditional items. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Amir Al-Wardi, Consul General of the Sultanate in Australia, hosted a reception ceremony on the occasion of the 48th Glorious National Day. It was attended by some Australian officials, heads of departments of the Foreign Ministry of Australia and diplomatic missions, as well as members of Arab and foreign diplomatic corps, besides some Omani citizens living in Australia. They hailed the strong relations between the two countries, wishing further cooperation and development for the good ties between the two countries. Rejoicing the 48th Glorious National Day, the citizens of the Wilaya of Daba and the Governorate of Musandam, in cooperation with the Omani Women Association in the Wilaya, organized a traditional festival under the auspices of His Excellency Dr. Saeed bin Khamis Al-Ka'bi, Chairman of the Public Authority for Consumer Protection. During the festival, the citizens expressed their love and loyalty to the leader of the country, His Majesty Sultan Qaboos. It witnessed a huge participation from school students as well as Omani traditional arts bands. A number of poems were recited in the love of the country and the beloved leader, besides some traditional songs and dances were performed. The activities of the culture competition of Royal Army of Oman for the year concluded at the Auditorium Sultan Armed Forces Engineering Command. The contest included a number of culture, scientific, and artistic fields. At the end of conclusion ceremony, Major General Matar bin Salim al-Blushi, Commander of Army of Oman, distributed prizes and certificates to toppers and organizers. Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over most of the governorates with chances of low clouds and fog late at night and early morning over the coasts of the Arabian Sea. Winds will be southeasterly south, light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. Omani Indian Committee discussed in Muscat enhancing defense and military cooperation between the Sultanate and India. Sultan Qaboos Award for Sustainable Development in School Environment is launched in 3 fields. And more than 1,070 male and female citizens graduated from PDO's National Objectives Program. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, thank you for watching and have a great night.